Hi everybody, it's Kate Luella here, and I've got a wonderful interview today coming up. It's with my special guest, Sean Kaye. I haven't known Sean for long, but he's obviously been around online for some time. He's got a lot of experience and knowledge to bring to the table, I can assure you. Sean actually has 2 online businesses as his main focus of income, rapidactionwriting.com and rapidactionseo.com. He's also created a new blog recently, which is mainly consisting of a podcast called wsobackstage.com. And he also has his own personal blog, seankaye.com as well. Now, I could talk to Sean all day and all night. In fact, this interview went for over 2 hours, which was really quite long, and yet he was still willing to talk more. So he's quite a marathon man to me, and he was very generous with his information and advice and help. And so I'm really glad to sort of give you this interview. I'm going to deliver it in 3 stages, though, in part 1, 2, and 3. And I'll briefly summarize what's in them in a minute. For every now and again, I would talk to Sean about, inadvertently, I would talk to him about my product that I've just released, the Bloggers Who Podcast for Success, which really highlights all the benefits of podcasting for people, mainly for bloggers, especially bloggers like Sean. So it's interesting to hear how he's gone with his blogging and podcasting and what he has to say about all that. I do have a preview of my course on my site, bloggerswhopodcast.com. If you sign into there, you get sent a preview of that course if you're interested in it, because it's not very expensive and it's a great introduction to podcasting for anyone who wants to give podcasting a go. As you will hear from Sean, podcasting is a fantastic way to drive traffic to your site, and there's so many ways you can spin your podcast content. So when I spoke with Sean in part 1, Sean has explained a lot of things about SEO inadvertently without me realizing that's what he's doing, because I really want to talk to him about his blog, but we talked about so much. So in part 1, we talk about SEO factors like authority blogging and authority bloggers. There's a new term out there called authority rank, and he explains all this and how it's relative to bloggers today and helps you get more traffic and why. It's just really insightful to know this information in layman's terms. And then I sort of talked to things about affiliates, especially to do with his products. And I was also very keen to talk about his return on an investment with his WSO Backstage blog. So he shares all that information with us as well. In part 2, the next interview, I'll just summarize basically there. We're also going to talk about the 2 types of bloggers that are out there and what differentiates the 2 between them. And then we have a great discussion about a webinar he put out recently, which he sold before people watched it, and then he sold it at the end as well. And then he explains why he took it off the market altogether, because I was sort of like, well, why didn't you just keep it going? So it's really insightful to see his opinion on, and well, really, it's really good advice, because he's basing all this advice on his own experience. It's kind of really hard to get this good advice. So in part 2, we actually end up talking about building relationships with your tribe or community if it's a podcaster. And, we talk about giving things away free, because there's 2 methods out there at the moment to get subscribers. One is that you just ask and hope they sign in, and the other is that you give something away free to give them an incentive to sign up. And it was really interesting to hear Sean's take on why he suggested not to give freebies away and on what basis you should and when. But, it was just a fantastic conversation. It really made things a lot clearer in my mind. So I'm sure it will help you that way too. And then in part 3, the final part of this interview, we talk about sales funnels. And obviously, Sean has got a lot of experience with this. So it was really exciting to talk to him about how to set up your sales funnel, how to get the people to buy things. He talks about James Franco's model of the chocolate wheel and how that's all relative to a sales funnel. He then reflects on his own SEO company, rapidactionseo.com, and how they're building affiliate products and the structures. And he's basing it all on his own experience, so he's not guessing. It's really great information. And I really loved the way he summarized his products and how you should create products. The way he summarized his SEO products is he said he wanted to make his clients' business easier, make their business better, and improve their business. And then I added on, make more money, which he was quick to point out, well, that would be making it better. So, so look, and then we end up talking about podcasting as well. And of course, we talked briefly about my product, Bloggers Who Podcasters, again, and how that's going. So make sure you come into iTunes, say hello, leave a review. These things always help with SEO from me because we're starting out, or you can go onto my blog, but it's probably easier just to go through iTunes. And I look forward to talking to you again soon with my next interview I've got coming up is with James Schrenko. So without further ado, here's Sean, and he's talking about his latest new project, wsobackstage.com, his blog or podcast, and how that's all going. I see what you're saying, but I think it's all part of the master plan of the person who started out. Her intention may well be to sell a lot of little products, and maybe she will gradually build up authority to a bigger one anyway.
Oh, no, I think the thing that people need to understand is that they should eventually you need to get to a point where you have a broad funnel and you pull people in at the top at lower price products or low barrier to entry products. And as you move them down the funnel, it's always a good thing to have a high price product in your range. So it could be coaching or whatever, because you might only get half of 1% of your buyers. But imagine if you had 100 buyers and you could get 2 of them paying $1,000 a month for coaching. You'd have to sell a lot of ebooks to replace that, right?
Yeah, okay, but you're talking about sales funnel now, so I understand what you're saying. You're saying get your big strategy.
Yeah, give people more options. Yeah, if you're going to build up a good set of customers, give them the option to give you more money. Like, don't limit your own earnings by the fact that you are either afraid or concerned about alienating your demographic by having a higher price product, which is what most people do. I don't think my audience will pay for it. Well, you don't know. Until you try it, you don't know. And they're not going to get upset. Like, you'll piss somebody off. It's inevitable. You always piss somebody off. If you try and put out a $5,000 product, somebody's going to say, oh, whoa, that's just outrageous. How dare you? That person was never going to buy it anyway. So it doesn't really matter. And all you need is one. You get one person to buy it, and you'd have to sell, $2,025 ebooks to make that kind of money. So,
but see, to me, you're talking about fishing because, I mean, I not literally. I mean, as in you spread your net, and just depending on what your strategy is, you will catch some fish. Yeah. I mean, you can go for the $5,000 product, and you're right. Maybe only one person picks it up, but you just made $5,000, and you can give that person really good value because you're not swamped with 100 people with a $20 membership.
But the other thing you've done is you've stocked the pond, to use your fishing analogy, right? Is these are people who know, like, and trust you already. You've given them lots of value all the time. You've established more and more credibility, and these people have spent money with you. If you keep moving them up the food chain and, to a $4.97 product, and they think they've got really good value from that, let that person make the logical step that says, well, if I've paid $500 and Kate gave me this much value, imagine how much value Kate could give me if I spent $2,000 with Kate. And then instead of you giving them $2,000 of value, you give them $3,000 of value. You go above and beyond. That's just how sales funnels work. Is that if you can get people in, get them to know, like, and trust you, you have to keep trying to lift the value you're extracting from that customer. You have to. It's really
streamlining my target demographic into that funnel. That's exactly what you're talking about, isn't it? The funnel.
Yeah. So what we're working on at the moment in the background is we're going to put together an affiliate marketing course where it'll have probably 8 different components that we'll sell individually. Some of them will be upsells and that sort of thing. And then at the end, we're going to have the master compendium product, which will be, for a certain price. You can buy them all if you didn't buy them or whatever. But then we're going to have the upsell to that, which is, now you've got the whole course, now you're going to get the coaching program with that. So not only will you learn everything about affiliate marketing, but you'll also get time with me for me to help you build that business.
Yeah.
So that's another way to do it. But look, I think get one product at the door first is probably the best approach.
So you got to build on it, don't you?
Yeah.
I have one question because you sound like a person who will be able to answer this. You said before, and I can work on what your example was. You said that you had a product, the SEO product, which was a webinar. So you sold that on the front end to 100 people. Then after you package it together, you sold it as a packet, like a book or whatever course later. And then you said to me, but I don't run it forever. These things can't. I took it down after a while, and now I'm going to put it back up. Why can't someone just have it there forever? Is that because it just goes stale, or?
Oh no, you can. There's lots of different ways to do those sort of things. A course like that, I think you're creating a bit of scarcity.
Right.
So what it lets me do is sell an upsell on that for more coaching and personalized contact.
Right.
So if that product's not available all the time, then I can put it back on the market to people who are new to my list or people who've just been introduced to me or whatever, or I can sell it through an affiliate or whatever. And then as an upsell, I can say, well, okay, here's 10 hours of content, SEO training content. And, if you want to do 4 weeks of additional webinars where I'm going to answer questions and all that as well, that's another $47 or whatever. So that's one way. The other way that's evolving, and Shramko is kind of a guy I think is kind of an originator of this, is building the community, feeding the community free products, and then taking those products and using those as a front end offer into the community. Mm-hmm. So James has his content assault and own the race course.
But hang on, doesn't that just contradict what you just said before, that you can't have them free?
No. No. Well, he gives them free to his forum members because they're paying a monthly recurring revenue to.
Okay, I see.
So think about that as how that business model works, right? Is as part of being part of that community, there's a monthly webinar. He then takes that monthly webinar and turns that monthly webinar into a product. Now you get access to that product for free because you're already a part of the community, and that continuity revenue is much, much better than him selling you products. He would rather sell you $67 a month, being part of his forum, and give you all those $19 products for free than sell you all the $19 products
individually.
Now then what he does is he takes those individual $19 products and says, okay, well, hey, I have an idea for you. Why don't you, here's a potential new customer, $19 product. And then you buy the $19 product, and then you on the back end, he says, hey, how would you like to be a part of my forum? And you get all this stuff free moving forward.
Free. That's that's awesome. Now, listen, you've tapped into something here. So what your advice to this lady who sends me this free stuff would be, you should be doing that like the Shramko model, and have that stuff free to people who are part of your community or group or whatever. That's fine. But but I'm just thinking, Shramko can leverage on his reputation. She can't. So how does she get people to become members? Surely she has to give them something to her to build the relationship, like the Brendan Burchard model, give, and then ask to join the community. So maybe it needs to be part of a strategy, unlike willy-nilly, but maybe it is part of a strategy and I just haven't been hit with the price yet, the offer. Maybe.
You need to build a community, and Brendan's an interesting model. So anyone interested in becoming a marketer of any caliber, in my view, should get Experts Academy. I highly recommend that product. Hey, I bought it. So it was for me, and I'll be honest, it was a life-changing product. And I don't say that lightly. I that one was the one that made me realize the $500,000 a year career I was in wasn't really that fun, and I didn't enjoy it. So that guy is somebody you should study, because what he talks about is not good enough. He talks about experts. He talks about expertise. It's taking things to the next level, and using different, like his total product blueprint.
I've got that, by the way.
Product. I made a lot of money off that as an affiliate, but that is how modern information marketers should work. So those kind of things are like, he's a different animal altogether, because what you don't see in the background is the work he's doing to be Brendan Burchard. Like Total Product Blueprint, the marketing of that is amazing, because he in the year he released that in 2011, in sort of May 2011. In January 2011, he took about half a dozen big time internet marketers to the Super Bowl in the US, right? Biggest event in the world that year. At that event, from what I'm told, he pitched them the idea that he's coming out with a book, and if they sent that book to his list,
to their list,
to their lists, they would get pre-cookied for all the people who took him up on the book, which was a free offer, basically $18 for the cost of the book or whatever. All those people would be pre-cookied for the product that he had coming out a few months after that.
Right.
So all these affiliates then basically started bombarding their hundreds of thousands of people on their list for this book. Well, Brendan was #1 New York Times bestseller on the day the book was released because all these people bought that book.
Now, how many IMs did he take? Did you say?
He took about a half a dozen big time affiliate marketers. Okay. And these are mates of his, right? And these guys pumped and pushed that book like crazy. Mm. And so he's now #1 New York Times bestseller, gets a 8-figure book deal out of it, right? Yeah. Then he launches a product in May and does $4.5 million on the front end of the product.
Yeah, yeah.
And I know because I sold I did affiliate sales on the product, but within a couple of weeks of them doing that front end, he was selling Experts Academy to those people and not pushing the back end to the affiliates. So that $4.5 million launch probably is a $6 million launch. That guy created a whole different business model of using a book as an enticement to get affiliates to promote something so that they could get longer term affiliate. Like, he is outrageously gifted. Like,
yeah, he is. I know. Yeah, he's very smart.
So he's sort of in a whole other planet. Now you come back to the rest of us and you look at what sort of something like James Schramko does, which is exceptionally clever. And now I've seen it copied about a half a dozen times, which was put the community together, give away the free content, but build the continuity revenue. Because that's, like, if you want to make money in this business, having a list is a good thing, but having 100 people pay you $27 a month is a much better thing. So that's where you should be building your business, is continuity, building that community. And that's what bloggers are really good at. And that's what Darren Rouse is exceptional at, is Darren's built a community, right? And how you monetize that community is the challenge. So
yeah.
So you put it in a forum. Forums are great, but they're hard work. But if you can, what James does with the free content is exceptional, and he's unique. I mean, he's you meet him personally. He's a unique guy. He doesn't think like most people. He's kind of a different, outside the box kind of thinker naturally. So
he's very analytical.
He's
very pragmatic.
And so that kind of stuff, could everybody build a forum with 300 or 400 users and answer every thread every day? That's just
a little odd, isn't it?
It's just not what most people can do. But
that shows you he's got the right attitude. Right?
Well, no, the advantage what James has done is he's built his whole business to that. So what he's done is he's got his team in place that run his services businesses, and then he's offering so much value to his target audience that they then use his services, which is where he makes even more money. So, it's an exceptional business model, and it's not for everybody. You just have to find a way to make your money in multiple different ways. So, like, for us, we have things like WSO Backstage where we're making affiliate commissions, and we have products that we release and stuff, but we also have our services businesses. So, if we can get people on the front end to buy the products, the goal for us isn't to get them to buy $27 ebooks. The goal is to get them to become content customers, to become SEO customers long term, sign up for membership packages on content and stuff, because that's where the money is. It's not on the front end.
So that's really strategizing your funnel. Is that what you're talking about?
Yeah. James calls it the chocolate wheel. It's your business model, right? You've got to know how you make your money and then move people through that funnel, like
Right.
and
I
cross
gotcha.
sell
Yeah.
and you have to be able to add value in multiple places. So like for us, all of our things kind of line up. So if we get a customer out of the blue for content, well, that person wants us to write them SEO content, either blog posts or do article marketing for them. Well, that person might also want to understand SEO. So now we can go back and say, well, let's approach that person about buying our SEO course. If we do an affiliate marketing course, well, what are these people selling? Well, they're selling affiliate products, so maybe they want to learn how to do affiliate marketing better. So you have to have related offers, and it has to logically make sense.
But you really have to narrow down who your target demographic is, I think, to do what you just talked about then.
Yeah, you have to think very, very carefully
Yeah.
about the people
Yeah.
you're trying to attract, right? Like
Yeah.
I'm not, and not, I'm not actively discouraging it, but not saying it disparagingly, but mommy bloggers, they're not our target audience. They're not going to buy our SEO products. They're not going to buy our SEO services. They're not going to buy our content, and they're not going to buy our affiliate products. So why would I want those people on our list? They're
Why do you think they don't want to buy it?
well, because if you're somebody who's well, I'll call it a business. I guess that's the right term. But if their business is creating blog posts and stuff, that person is generally not going to spend $100 a month in SEO services, right?
Yeah, because that's lack of mindset, isn't it, really?
Well, yeah, and they're also a lot of bloggers a lot of bloggers think SEO is a bit of a dirty word. They think of syndication as acceptable, but a lot of times there's no difference in the two. You just have to. From what we've seen, our market is really people who have disposable income and see what we do as a return on their investment.
Right. Right.
So if if you have an SEO business, the people who are best positioned to pay for your services are people who generate revenue off search traffic.
Right.
And you just follow the rabbit hole, and that's how we ended up with our content business. A classic funnel. We sold people the SEO services or the SEO training. At the end of the SEO training, when Penguin was released, we had people ask us, my site's been damaged, can you tell me how to fix it? So we released a $67 Penguin audit, where we would go look at their site and tell them what we think was wrong and what they had to fix.
Yeah.
A lot of that then came out, well, some of the content on your site isn't very good. Well, can you rewrite my content for me? Well, yes, we can. So then we had so many people telling us, could you rewrite our content, that we decided, well, we may as well have a business that writes content for people.
So who would ask you that? Is that a small business? Someone who can't write? Who's that target demographic?
Absolutely. We have small businesses, we have affiliates, we have people who are local marketing, a lot of local marketing people. So like if you're going out to local businesses and you're saying, okay, I want to help you, improve your traffic and your lead generation from your website, you need to do blog posts.
Yeah, he's not interested.
Well, the guy who runs the business is busy running his business. The local marketing consultant doesn't know how to write blog posts for that business, so they need somebody to do it. So we can put together a voice and a position and do that for them. We can then syndicate that for them, or publish it on and get backlinks for them. And so you follow your customer up and down the value chain. You say, okay, well, what else could I offer this person that either makes their life easier,
Right.
or makes their life better, or improves their business? And then you find out if you can do that cost effectively, and then if you can, you do it. And that's,
I like that. What did you say? It makes their life easier.
it makes their life easier, it makes
Yeah.
their life better, or it improves their business.
Improves their business, not makes more money.
Like, making more money is an improvement in the business, but it's also like a classic one is if you're a local marketer, building a referral model for a customer is like the best thing you can do, because if you can get an existing customer to refer 3 of their friends, you're going to make more money than advertising because referrals are worth more.
Right.
So you want to improve people's businesses, and at the end of the day, when you improve your business, you should make more money, or you're not doing it right if you're not. So that's the thing. It's it's a pretty simple strategy to finding how to grow your business. Is just ask your customer what it is they'd like you to do for them.
Yeah. Or listen to what they're asking you.
Or that's exactly it, is understand their pain and solve it for them and put yourself in their shoes. And for most small businesses, I mean, I don't know how many local marketers you have that listen to your podcast, but for most small businesses, their pain is, I don't have enough customers, and I don't get enough repeat business, and I don't generate enough leads from my website. And all three of those, if you can address all three of those, that's where local marketing turns very lucrative.
Sorry, go on.
Not ranking for number one in Google. That's not worth anything.
Yeah. See, it's making me think too, because I think my target demographic, their real pain is they don't make enough money. And I'm just wondering if my sales page really addresses that. Because I don't know that podcasting can make them money. So I sort of played up that it drives traffic.
Mm-hmm.
And that can create income opportunities, which is a really convoluted way of saying it. Possibly it won't convert well based on that.
Well, I think it's just a case of how you think about, like WSO Backstage is a good example, right? WSO Backstage is a podcast targeted at making money. That's what it does. And it is very clear in my mind. I'm there to educate the listener. I'm there to help a product creator promote their product. And I'm there to make affiliate sales.
Facilitate the sales.
That's it. Yes. That's it, right? I'm there to grease the wheels of commerce. That's my job.
Yes.
And if you're a blogger or a product creator or a business owner or whatever, and you decide that podcasting is the way you can go about it, you have to do a couple of things. One is you have to say, okay, am I going to use this medium as a way of making money directly? So I'm going to pitch product in here. I'm going to use it as a selling platform, etc. So yes or no. If no, then it's a case of, okay, well, how can I use this then to make people who end up listening to me know, like, and trust me more? How do I build authority? And then how do I parlay that authority into sales? And those are really the only two things that you can do. Otherwise, you're
just having fun.
you're just shooting the shit with somebody, and there's not a lot of money in that. Like if I, and James will, I mean, I'm sure you had James on your podcast, right?
Oh no, next week,
right?
Think, or this week. We haven't hooked up yet.
Guarantee you, he will mention his SEO business. He will mention Fast Web Formula, and he'll mention.
If he listens to this, he'll go, "No, I'm not going to say it."
Oh no, he will, because he's there to give your listeners value. He wants to educate them. He wants them to come away from the 30 minutes or the hour of listening to him talk to you feeling that they know more, and that they're glad they're listening to you. That's the other thing, is that you do these kind of things, and part of the process is for us to say, well, you should listen to Kate because she gets people who know what they're talking about and who'll help you. But at the end of the day, if I don't drop rapid action writing and rapid action SEO into the conversation, then I'm just...
Yeah, it's almost no point.
Exactly. Right. So
well, it's pertinent that you talk about what you're doing, though. That's part of the whole...
Right. But you approach this, and I'm sure he'd say the same thing, is you approach this from... Our job is, we will build our own authority and our own credibility just by telling you what we know. Our job is also partly to build your credibility because you're able to get people who can talk intelligently about topics. And so it's making you look good helps us. And that's why you do these kind of things.
So the halo effect kind of.
That's right. That's why you do this stuff.
Yeah. Listening to some people talk about stuff in a profound way directed at me and what I want to talk about. This is just gold, and people just don't seem to see it. It's surprising.
Well, I think the thing that makes you a good host is when you are the avatar for your customer or your demographic when you're asking the question that they want answered. If you're the inquisitive little person who wants to know the answers that they want, you'll get the best feedback and best answers for them naturally. You don't even have to work at it because you're asking the right questions. It's curiosity. I've seen people do these things where they're not curious and they don't care and they think they have all the answers, and that's difficult. And the other one that's really hard is when you interview somebody who, as it turns out, isn't really an expert, and that happens. And then what you have to do is you then have to carry the show. So you not only then have to, your role then changes of being the person representing the audience to, oh my God, I've got to bail this person out. So now
why would you interview someone who's not an expert? Like, I'm just trying to.
Oh, it happens. It happens where you interview somebody who, has done something, and then it turns out that they have a very limited knowledge. Okay. They've almost done it by accident. And I've had that where, at the end of by the middle of the show, I'm sort of where the roles have reversed, where I'm almost interviewing myself about that person's topic.
Is that what it was like with me?
No, not at all. I think it's we had, there was one recently where the guy, I knew more about his topic than he did, and that happens occasionally, and it was fine. So for the first 20 minutes of the call, you're sort of like trying to pull more out of him,
right? Yeah.
And then it just sort of the light bulb went off, is he doesn't know. And so now how do I educate the audience on this guy's topic? And now you have to turn into almost, instead of being the guy asking the questions, you have to turn into the teacher. Mm-hmm. And that's something you will inevitably pick that up. You'll find you'll get a guest on who's written a book.
I know.
And you're going to have to, and otherwise the show is a bomb.
Yeah.
So,
but that's why I go into the editing suite. I get rid of the ums. There's a lot of ums and ahs, and because I want the listener to have a good experience. But it's time consuming.
No, that's right. And so I take the other approach where I just leave it all in, and it stands on its own, or it doesn't. I think.
Yeah, but you might be good enough to do that. I'm.
No. There's lots of. I think it's also too that you just have to. I think it's almost a warts and all view. I'm not worried so much. I think if you do a good job interviewing, I've had interviews in podcasts in the past where I just didn't do the show. Mm. I've had people where I've called them up and said, "Oh, look, I lost the interview. Sorry. Oh, when do you want to reschedule? Oh, look, I'll call you."
Really? Why would
you have
do
to?
That?
Well, because the content was so bad.
Why was it
the
bad?
person.
What was bad about it?
Well, the person just didn't come across well. They may not have known the topic, or I had one a few years ago where the number of factual inaccuracies in what the person was saying was so outrageous that I couldn't correct it fast enough, that it was like, okay, well, I can't put that on because he's making himself look bad. So
that's hilarious. I'm sorry, Sean, that is funny. So basically anyone listening to this, if Sean ever rang you and said he lost your interview,
that's right. I didn't.
Code for you're not any good.
Yeah. No, well, this guy was a database developer, and he was saying stuff that was just downright just wrong. It was like not even a little bit wrong. It was wrong. Mm-hmm. And you just, for his own sake, like, you can't let somebody do that to themselves.
But wouldn't you corrected them within the interview, weren't you? Or they just kept denying it or whatever?
Yeah, you can do that once in a while. You can sort of say, oh, well, what? And also, too, I think it's one of those things is if somebody makes a mistake and you pick them up on it, you always have to pick them up in a way that sort of brings them along with the answer. Yeah. But you can't bring them along and drop them on their head over and over again. And that kind of happened in this particular one. And at the end of the day, it was like, well, I can't edit this. I can't fix it. I can't let this person do that to themselves. So we just had a technical glitch, and
I love that.
And went to we were doing weekly ones. We just went to a discussion show instead. That was really So,
well, look, these things happen. He probably didn't
yeah.
even notice.
Nah, it's in the grand scheme of things. I'm sure he's not crying himself to sleep over not getting on that
Oh,
show.
hopefully not.
I haven't had a
That's what you
shot
hope.
taken at
But
me.
look, no,
Yeah.
that's wonderful. Look, we could talk so much more, and we definitely will. We'll talk again. And
Okay.
look, one day
Sounds
I
good.
hope to have an or WSO product, so I will obviously be contacting you then.
Yeah, well, we do small products too, so it's not just
What do you mean
WSOs.
by
It's
that?
any small product.
Okay, so you don't only do WSO
No,
products.
we don't yet. We haven't done anyone doing like a big $2,000 launch. I'm not sure if it's just not the same target audience, but I'll get James on at some point to talk about fast web formula because it's kind of a unique product.
Well, has he ever put anything on WSO?
No, he did one recently as part of a bonus offering. He offered a product of his as a bit of a test. James actually used to participate in Warrior Forum quite a bit. You go and look up his name on Warrior Forum. He's got hundreds and hundreds of posts. So back in the day, he used to participate in there a fair bit. But it's not his target audience. His target audience is not that sort of hardcore I am get rich quick group.
Yeah.
He's kind of teaching business and strategy. He's moved up away from that higher value. I mean, I think. Well, no, I think
I love the way he's moved up.
Yeah, it is. Oh, it's a different audience, right? Like, I mean,
Yeah.
I host the show and stuff, and I make no misconceptions about it. I think a lot of those people are looking at how can I make $37 a day, selling, whatever. And he talks about, long-term sustainable business models online, and they're not the same. The person buying the plugin that auto spins your content and distributes it to wikis isn't looking for a sustainable business. They're looking for a boost in their page rank.
Gotcha. Yeah. Look, it was funny at the Pro Blogger conference, and we mentioned I was talking to some of the girls, and somehow the Warrior Forum came up, and you should have seen them, Sean. They just about started to vomit. Oh my God, you don't go there. Oh my God.
Well, no, a lot of
men. This is how
yeah.
they're talking.
Oh no, that's true. And there's the funny part about it is though, I think there are people who do that who, if they ended up spending a couple hours reading some of the stuff there, they'd probably learn more about marketing than they would at a lot of other things they do.
Yeah.
I think if you're struggling, if you acknowledge that you're struggling to get by doing what you're doing and you continue to do that, that sort of falls very close to Einstein's, definition of crazy, where if something is not working, you keep doing it over and over and over again. Welcome to the land of crazy. And so if you're doing the same thing over and over and over and over again, and it's not working, and you're reading the same other people who aren't having success over and over and over again, well, maybe you need to broaden your horizons a little.
Yeah. Oh, look, I'm not saying that they were saying, what are they saying? They're saying WSO is get rich quick crap.
Yeah.
No,
a lot of it is.
Almost like what you were saying, but not as politically correct as you were saying. They're saying they're not building any long-term strategies. They're not interested in business. They're just trying to make a buck. They don't care what they sell. It's all, this is what, I'm not saying I held that opinion at all. I've bought a few things there and they've been fantastic, so I'm not, I'm just saying that their impression, I think it's the big masculine red lines. It's a little bit.
No, it's true. And I think the thing is that a lot of those people take a different approach to stuff, right? Like a lot of the people who are on there are in a position where I want to do something that will pay my rent and then I'll build a business. And I think a lot of people, that kind of desperation isn't necessarily a bad thing. As long as you don't sort of cross any moral or ethical lines, you're fine. But I think realistically, having a certain level of desperation to be successful is a good thing. And it's a lot easier to build a successful business off of a platform that you're having some success from. So if they're earning, $500 or $600 a week, it's a lot easier for them to go out and hire a virtual assistant to help them do something than somebody who's not making anything.
Yeah.
And, you know, they can start to build something. Whereas if you start with nothing, it's pretty hard to build.
Yeah. Yeah. Oh, absolutely. I mean, I don't know, this is a very broad conversation. So I don't know that that's really, I agree with what you're saying though. So, but look, I think we should, is there anything else you want to talk about before anything about whether you're coming up
No,
or?
I'm good. I think, you know, you have a question about the next 12 months. I think people for the next 12 months should redouble and triple down on content. I think it's imperative that people continue to produce quality original work and focus on originality and say something different and say it in a different way. I think that's one of the things that podcasting is a little bit unique, is that there still aren't that many people doing it. And if you read the numbers, there are large audiences. The number of people who listen to this sort of stuff at the gym or in the car is really significant. So it's a good medium if you can pull it off. But you know, you've got to keep making content. You got to keep doing new and original things.
Get your strategy right. And so strategy is easy for me. I just talk to people about blogging and things that are relative to bloggers. It's easy for me to keep that. So, but I can see how some people won't quite go in with such a simplistic strategy, you know, and they get a bit overwhelmed.
Well, I think the thing that happens too is you've got to stick with something and stick with it a little bit. I think we're all guilty of that. I'm particularly so, is that you start something and then you just kind of move on to the next thing. It takes time to build stuff.
Well, I always say podcasting's like blogging, really. It's just the audio part of it's different. You've still got to create the content. You've still got to have the strategy. You've still got to build the relationships. Everything's really the same. It's just the delivery is different. And in this case, you know, podcasting is quite unique. As you say, it's quite a good market, big size market. You know, Pat Flynn and people like that really prove that, well, they say that their leads come from podcasting. But no, I totally agree. So thank you for saying all that. But look, thank you so much for everything, actually. I've had an absolutely wonderful time.
Great.
Yeah, fantastic. Well, thank you so much. I'll let you go.
Thank you.
Thanks, Sean.
Pleasure.
Bye, hon. Bye.
Okay, bye-bye.